welcome to the Mayor's State of the City speech. As you heard Bob Buckley say a few minutes ago, we delayed it a few minutes so that people would have a chance to arrive in the inclement weather. The program will be short. It'll be right to the point, and it'll be an enjoyable program. One of my earliest memories is getting to know a fellow who is a highly decorated World War II vet, George Cataldo, who sits behind me. I don't think there's anybody in the room. If you've been in Brockton for more than 14 months, you know who George Cataldo was. But he's a wonderful man. He's volunteered more hours than any 50 Brocktonians together. And he's one of the finest individuals I've ever known. He'll lead all of us this evening in the Pledge of Allegiance. George.
We will all say the Pledge of Allegiance, and God bless America. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, with liberty and justice for all. God bless America as well.
Thank you, Judge. Thank you, Judge. When my grandparents and my wife Patty's grandparents came from Ireland, they were all baptized, married, and buried out of St. Edward's. Now, I know it's had several different names in the last few years, but to us, it's St. Edward's. And one of the greatest priests at St. Edward's was Father Flavin, a dear friend of the Mayor's, and he's been kind enough, as he always is. Whenever a request is made of him, he's kind enough to have come here this evening to give us the invocation. Father Flavin.
Let us pray. Good and gracious God, we thank you for all the blessings you bestow upon us in this life. We ask that you continue to send your blessing upon the citizens of Brockton. We ask that you protect our mayor, the city council, the school committee, and all those who work for a better society. Help us to work for peace in all things. We know in your eyes all people matter. We ask that you help us to see your presence in all we meet. We make our prayer in your holy name, forever and ever. Amen.
Thank you, Father. I'm going to be introducing a fellow who I had the honor and privilege of serving with in the House of Representatives, a great guy. And I just saw him in the back room, and he's sitting on stage. And I looked around the room, and I saw Congressman Steve Lynch and Ray Flynn, and I said, my God, half of the people here are from South Boston. And Steve Lynch looked at me and he said, yeah, we came here for the parking. Great line. Back in 30, and Dickie Wainwright would remember these years, I think, in 35, 36, 37, and 38. That's 1935, 36, 37, and 38. My father stood here as a young boy and entertained. And he was a professional entertainer as a young man and was throughout his lifetime. But this was a great historical hall inn. It was a great venue for people in this great city to come and to be entertained. There were no TVs, there was no internet. It's what people did then. And so it has a great personal attachment to the Lawton family. I served in the House of Representatives with a fellow who was famous for quoting Louis Brandeis, and the quote goes something like this: the most important position anybody can hold is that of private citizen. And that's Ray Flynn. When I served with Ray in the House of Representatives, it was during the height of busing. And I remember the day when Ray said, upon the retirement of the late Speaker John McCormick, that he was going to be running for state representative and then for city council. And then he said, maybe I'll even be mayor someday. But busing had torn apart the heart of the neighborhoods in the city of Boston, whether it was Savin Hill or Dorchester or South Boston or Hyde Park. It tore apart all the neighborhoods. And when Ray became elected mayor, he became, as Steve Lynch knows, the neighborhood mayor. He rebuilt the city from the inside out. And he did a great job reestablishing Boston's identity. And he established a special connection with our mayor, Bill Carpenter, and it is appropriate that Ray this evening will be introducing to you Bill Carpenter as he delivers his State of the City address. But I introduce to you now, for an introduction of the mayor, the Honorable Raymond Flynn, Ambassador to the Vatican, former mayor of Boston, former city councilor, former member of the House of Representatives. Ray Flynn.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, folks. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, folks. Thank you so much. Stephen, we'll see if they stand up for me after I get through speaking. That's the real test, Billy. I am so happy to be here with you on this very, very special night. Certainly the swearing, the State of the City address here in this great city of Brockton, but for Bill Carpenter, but also it gives me an opportunity to see my good friend for many, many years, Bobby Hayden, your chief of police, my dear friend. You know, to be honest with you, I had a bit of a speech prepared, but when I arrived here and I looked around the room and drove into Brockton, I said somehow the formality of a speech just doesn't work. And I told Mark that. I said, you know, I've worked on a speech to deliver here tonight introducing the mayor, but my memories of this city and of many of you go back so far that I don't really need a prepared speech. Some of you may remember this, maybe the younger people wouldn't. My whole life as a young boy was not wanting to become a politician. I wanted to become a professional basketball player. And I was the very last, after playing for Providence College and winning the national championship, I was drafted into the NBA. And that was my dream, was to play for the Boston Celtics. I was the ball boy for the Boston Celtics when they first played at the Boston Garden. That was 1950. I saw the first black basketball player walk on the court in the NBA, Chuck Cooper, number 11 from Duquesne, Sweetwater Clifton, Don Barksdale from UCLA, and I was the ball boy. I saw all of this for the longest period of time. And I said, someday I'm going to be playing for the Boston Celtics. I was only a kid at the time, 1950. Kids from the Southie Boys Club and Roxbury Boys Club and Charlestown Boys Club were given that distinction of being ball boys for the Celtics. So you can imagine what happened 1964 when I was the last guy cut by the Boston Celtics, by the legendary and my great friend who turned out to be one of my closest friends, Red Auerbach, who I admired and loved like a father. Well, he was such a fair and honest guy that he told me that Ray says, look, you know, we win world championships because of the fact that we play with the best. We can't use favorites. I understand that, and it was a lesson that stayed with me all these years. But here I was. What's that have to do with Brockton? Well, here I was now, looking for a job, didn't know where to go. I got a phone call from the president of Stonehill College, right over here in Easton. And he said to me, how would you like to be the basketball coach and the baseball coach at Stonehill College? So I said, that sounds great. I would love to be. So I came down here to Stonehill College, and I coached the head baseball coach in basketball. And I probably would have been still coaching in the college ranks if it weren't for the opportunity of representing my community of South Boston, the Roxbury and Dorchester in the Massachusetts legislature. But, you know, it was interesting because the lessons I learned from Red Auerbach and then the honor of coming down here to Brockton. By the way, we played our games at West Junior High School. Can you imagine that? West Junior High School, that's where we played college NCAA basketball games. And so I have a special relationship with this great city. And, you know, I love Ted Williams as a baseball player, but I love Rocky Marciano even more as a boxer. So I think this is... And I'll tell you why I developed such a close relationship, why I like Brockton. It's the same reason why I love your mayor, Billy Carpenter. And it's, people aren't pretentious. They're not on their high horse. They're down to earth. They're hardworking, decent people. They struggle. They play by the rules, and they work hard. And they raise the families as best as they can. It's just like the communities that I represented for such a long period of time in Boston. And that's very, very special to me. And when Mark told me, and I was driving by here and during the campaign for mayor of Brockton, I saw these signs on the various lawns. It said, the city, what is it, Mark? The city needs a... It takes a carpenter to build a city. What a perfectly appropriate title for Billy Carpenter, for the mayor of Brockton. You know, so I really consider myself fortunate to have the opportunity to introduce him to you tonight and to tell you that this is the type of political leadership that we need in America. We really need people who are committed to the needs of working class families, to have compassion, have understanding, and yet at the same time, realizing that the most important thing you do as a mayor or as a political leader in showing respect to everybody, but also to create jobs. What did they used to say? I believe this strongly. The best social program in America today is a job. That's what really brings the family, communities together. And I know that's what Bill Carpenter is trying to do here in Brockton, and I saw that in the campaign, and I've followed it and had the opportunity of giving some humble advice to him over the year. So I feel very much, again, part of the community of Brockton. But before I introduce the mayor, I just want to take the liberty to tell you something about Bobby Hayden. Bobby Hayden and I, you'll get a kick out of this. We did not start off on the best of terms. You got it right. He was with the Tactical Police Department. Now, I don't know if I'm supposed to be telling these stories or not, but I'm going to tell them anyway. He's got his established position. I've got my former established position. I'm not going anywhere, so I don't care what anybody thinks. I'm just going to tell you it. There were protests about demonstrators about the schools in Boston at the time, and Bobby was a real law and order guy. And of course, I was confronting him and telling him how right I was about the rights of parents and the rights of the parents to determine their own particular interest, educational interest for their children. Well, we went at it. And I mean, we really went at it. And, you know, I developed such a respect for him. I was in the legislature at the time. I developed such a personal respect for him. Here's a man who was committed to the rule of law. He wasn't going to let politicians or what's popular politically push him around or do what is not in the best interest of the common good. That's who Bobby Hayden was. And when I got elected mayor, the Boston Common, the oldest public park in North America, was run by drug dealers, by pimps, prostitutes, just the most difficult crime problems that we had in society. And I thought, who is that one person that can deal with this issue for me? And I said to myself, this is Bobby Hayden. Oh. Is that yours? You ever watch the Academy Awards? The music starts playing when they want the speaker to wrap up. Was that what that's all about, Mark? You know, look at, Steve Lynch and I are used to people throwing things at us up on the stage. If you think a little the phone thing like that is going to interrupt my speech, you're crazy. Bobby, you wanted me to shut up. That was your phone. That was Katie's phone. Bobby brought to the city police department this fierce commitment for justice, for integrity, for respect for all people, regardless of their background or their ideology. And that's the message that I wanted to present to the entire divided city of Boston, racially divided city of Boston. And more so than anybody, Bobby Hayden helped me achieve that objective. He had people of all diverse backgrounds working on his staff and going out into the common, cleaning up the troubled spots of the city of Boston. And what an effective job he did for us. And when Bill Carpenter was elected mayor of Brockton, I said, Bill, if you have, I saw that the #1 problem that you wanted to address was public safety. I said, you will not get anybody better, no matter where you go, nationwide search, Boston, wherever you wanted to go, than Bobby Hayden. Ladies and gentlemen, Bobby Hayden, stand up. I'm almost inclined to forgive him for all these things that he did to me when I was a state representative, but I'm not going to go that far. I don't know, well, I do know, but the future of Bobby Hayden is almost as important to me as his great career, because Bobby Hayden deserves the best for the rest of his life, because he's given so much to everybody else. So Bobby, I'm so happy to be here to introduce the mayor, but also to pay a special tribute to you. Let me shift now to the mayor. I think I said what I saw in Bill Carpenter, and my understanding and the historic significance of this great city of Brockton and the transition that the city is making from one of the great industrial cities of America to a city in many respects, like most cities, in transition, trying to create jobs and economic opportunity for many struggling families, many of whom are from places like Haiti and the Cape Verde, and as well as the established Irish and Italian community and Lithuanian. Kathy and I used to come down here all the time. Where did we go? We used to go to the Lithuanian Sandrina Club and the Lithuanian get our pizza, and down Remover Park here every Labor Day. The Lit Club. Yeah, so we used to get great pizza down there. My friends, you have a special mayor. And I think that a mayor, however, is only as good as the people who he brings together on a team and the people that support him. If you bring the right people around you, honest, diverse, compassionate and caring, they will reflect who you are. I think you'll agree that people like Hayden and other people in the administration reflect that specialness that is going to make Brockton one of the great cities. Again, you know, you'll probably say it already is, and I'll have to agree with you. But the future of Brockton is going to be greater, even greater, because of your mayor. Ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce to you, who know him better than I do, the mayor of Brockton, our friend, a man who cares about people, a man who has his eye on the future, representing a great old industrial city, but brings a new vision of America to Brockton. Bill Carpenter, my friend.
Good evening, thank you. I feel as though standing up here between Ambassador Flynn and Father Flavin, this is the closest I'll ever get to God. Thank you and good evening. Mr. Ambassador, Congressmen, city officials, distinguished former mayors, members of the City Council and School Committee, our legislative delegation, ladies and gentlemen. It's a pleasure to welcome you to this beautiful War Memorial Hall. Please take a few minutes to appreciate this beautiful building, built in 1929 to honor our war veterans. 1 year ago, when we took office, this building was lying dormant despite $3 million in renovations, without even an active board of trustees. Today, with the leadership of a fully engaged board, we are working to fully develop the potential of this historic building in the cultural and economic resurgence of Brockton, while never losing sight of the fact that this War Memorial building belongs to our veterans. Among the many city officials, I appreciate so much the many city officials being here tonight. I did want to take one moment to recognize our Fire Chief, Richard Francis, who was unable to be here in his home, sick, unable to attend. At least that's what he told me when he called me earlier. But Chief Francis has done an outstanding job for us. He's devoted to his firefighters, his department, and his city. And in a few months, Chief Francis will be retiring after serving the city of Brockton for over 34 years. So I'd ask you to take 1 minute to please join me in thanking the Chief for his service to the city. Ladies and gentlemen, tonight I am here to report that the state of the city is under construction because we are building a city. One year ago, in my inaugural address, I offered a three-point strategic plan for Brockton's future: to restructure the operation of city government, to revitalize our city's economy, and to rebuild and restore safe and clean neighborhoods. While time will not allow me to review a full year of work, I'd like to update you on some of our initiatives in each of these three areas. We are implementing information technology to make city government more accessible and convenient to our residents, while also embracing this technology to operate government more efficiently. We've launched a new city website that we are continually building with exciting new capabilities. The new site offers a virtual city hall where residents may now download and print a copy of nearly any city form or application online, saving a trip for themselves into City Hall just to pick up a blank form. We now have a GIS map on our website that shows the locations of all Level 2 and Level 3 sex offenders in the city so that parents can more easily access this information to protect their children. The new website offers capabilities to streamline city government for businesses as part of our overall effort to make Brockton business-friendly. Homeowners and contractors may now apply for building permits right online. And most recently, the Board of Health is now accepting applications for certificates of fitness and temporary dumpster permits online. And soon, those actual permits will be issued online, eliminating the need to come into the office at all. Working together with the Collins Center for Public Management at UMass Boston, we've begun to implement StatNet, a model for collecting and utilizing data to make budget and management decisions. We've brought StatNet into both our public works and police departments. Sorry about that. We're seeing the benefits of that work already. I'm pleased to announce tonight that the Brockton Police Department is now accepting online police reports for most types of routine reports. We anticipate that within a year, we could be accepting as many as 1/3 of our police reports online, freeing up patrol officers to engage in proactive policing and responding to serious crimes. Residents may now also obtain copies of accident reports online without having to visit the police station. Tonight, I'm also announcing the launch of Connect Brockton on our city website, adding more new functions to the website, including See, Click, Fix, that allows residents to report problems to a variety of city agencies online, 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, with no visit, requiring no visit or phone call to City Hall. The See, Click, Fix system also adds a level of accountability to city departments, as they will now report back on the system when the problem has been addressed. Perhaps the best example of the benefits of implementing StatNet is what we referred to as the water letter. And I brought one. The water letter. This form that requires original signatures from 7 different city departments in 3 different locations just to get a water service, even a temporary water service, turned on. This has been a cumbersome and unnecessary burden that discourages builders and developers from working in Brockton. Now, with StatNet providing us with the capability for city departments to share information electronically, we've been able to eliminate this form entirely. We got rid of it. That's what we mean by making Brockton more business-friendly. Rebuilding our city's economy to attract investment and create jobs is a critical part of our mission from day one. I've talked about the need to build an economic development team, and that began with the hiring of a top-notch city planner, Rob May, Brockton's first city planner in 8 years. Rob is here. Rob is here. Our investment in a fully staffed city planning office is paying dividends already. Recently, Mass Development selected Brockton as one of just 10 gateway cities to be awarded a transformative development district that will bring additional planning and infrastructure resources to our downtown. A year ago, Brockton would not even been able to develop a proposal, let alone be selected. Tonight, even more good news. Brockton has been approved by the state for a housing development incentive program that will offer state tax incentives to developers who build market-rate housing in the downtown. And immediately, it's a big accomplishment. It's going to bring market-rate housing. And immediately that HDIP program, along with zoning changes being submitted to the City Council for approval, will allow a private developer to go forward with a plan to redevelop the Kresge building, a long vacant and deteriorating building in the heart of downtown. We're looking forward to a number of development initiatives during the upcoming year, creating a downtown redevelopment plan, building a master plan for the Campello and Montello station areas, kicking off a citywide comprehensive planning process, and creating a local historic district designation for downtown, because we know that to move Brockton forward into the future, we must embrace its past. Just since taking office a year ago, we've built a team of economic development professionals who are working together to build a new Brockton. We've hired the city's first Main Street manager in over a decade, Gary Leonard, who's working to expand. Gary's looking to expand existing businesses and attract new businesses to the city's Main Street business corridor. We have a new executive director at the Brockton Redevelopment Authority, Robert Jenkins, and we soon anticipate the appointment of a new executive director to lead a re-energized Brockton 21st Century Corporation. Just 1 year ago, the notion of a college campus in downtown Brockton was an unfulfilled dream. After the election, we immediately went to work building a coalition of 3 state colleges and universities, Massasoit, UMass Boston, and Bridgewater State University, to partner with the city in bringing a state college campus to downtown Brockton. During the month of January, I personally visited each of the college presidents, Dr. Charles Wall, Dr. Keith Motley, and Dr. Dana Molifaria, at their respective campuses to secure their commitments. One of the key educational leaders of our effort is here with us tonight, Fred Clark, the incoming president of Bridgewater State University. Here, Fred's here. Fred was born in Brockton. It's one of the reasons I like him. Fred was born in Brockton, and like many successful Brocktonians, he still proudly claims his Brockton roots. Due to the combined efforts of the 3 schools and the city, along with the members of our state legislative delegation and state officials, on November 24th, Governor Patrick announced a state commitment of over $20 million to make that dream of a downtown Brockton College campus a reality. This college is a game changer. It's the cornerstone around which we will build a thriving downtown entertainment and business district. We've built a team of professionals working together to attract investment, create jobs, and revitalize our city's business districts, and we are being noticed. There is a buzz and excitement in the business community that now is the time to invest in Brockton. In fact, in March, I will be convening close to 100 of the region's business, educational, and government leaders in Brockton's first economic summit since 2010, so that together we can build a game plan for Brockton's economic growth. We're building a city of opportunity, but more importantly, we're building a city of equal opportunity, because when Brockton is home, everything is within reach. We're building a city where families have an opportunity to own their own home. We're building a city where entrepreneurs, women, minorities, and immigrants can build their own future by building their own business. We're building a city where all of our children are offered a first-class public school education and their own opportunity to create a bright future. And we're building a city where we don't just accept our children with special needs and our children who are learning to read and write English. We embrace them, and we make sure that they receive the same equal opportunity to create their own bright future. We must be mindful of the impact that property taxes have on the budgets of working families and the detriment to new businesses and investment that high taxes represent. We must be creative in financing the cost of essential city services without always asking the taxpayer to pony up some more. The taxpayers' pockets must no longer be the first place that we look. I've committed to seeking alternative sources of revenue to fund the city budget, and we're doing that. Soon we will be licensing electronic messaging billboards along the highway, generating hundreds of thousands of dollars in revenue. I've appointed a real estate custodian to conduct regular auctions of surplus city property acquired through the tax title process, land and vacant properties that have not paid any real estate taxes in years are now being improved, going back on the tax rolls while generating over $1 million in cash to the city coffers this fiscal year alone. We've begun asking the largest nonprofit organizations in the city, who own millions of dollars in real estate while not being required to pay any real estate taxes, to begin making voluntary payments to partially reimburse the city for the cost of providing police and fire department services that they draw so heavily upon. In June, I submitted a balanced budget to the City Council that called for no new taxes. The first budget in over 30 years that did not rely at all on the revenue from the allowable Prop 2.5 increase. Or I've learned that serving in a leadership role as your mayor requires that sometimes I must make tough decisions. I may be called upon to make a decision that is in the best interest of the residents of the city that I may not personally, philosophically agree with. And recently, I found myself in exactly that position when faced with approving a $500,000 appropriation bill to pay outside legal fees incurred in continuing to defend the city and 8 other defendants in a $68 million civil rights lawsuit filed by the developers of the natural gas electric plant. As the CEO of the city, I had no alternative than to continue to defend the city until this suit can be settled. But make no mistake, this will be the last of the taxpayers' money that I will allow to be spent paying outside lawyers to continue to defend a suit that our own attorneys have advised us to settle. Thank you. Thank you. That was almost as good as Ambassador Flynn's. In spite of this $500,000 bill to be paid at the end of the year, we saw a small property tax increase of less than 0.5%, the lowest tax levy increase since the city became compliant with Prop 2.5 over 30 years ago. We faced some unprecedented public safety challenges this year. Immediately upon taking office, we were faced with an epidemic of deadly opiate overdoses. We were hit hard here in Brockton with 8 deaths during the first 2 months of the year. By year's end, the death toll was 14. One of my first decisions as mayor was to deploy Narcan with both our firefighters and police officers, and I am proud to say that Brockton was one of the first cities to have all of its first responders, EMS, fire, and police, carrying Narcan. And Narcan has saved lives. There is no doubt that the death toll would have been much higher if not for the life-saving efforts of our firefighters and police officers. Currently, our first responders are averaging about 100 Narcan overdose saves per month. This is no longer an overdose epidemic, it is a public health emergency. I recently convened a summit on the heroin overdose crisis at City Hall with great participation from both of our hospitals, police, fire, city, and state agencies, along with our state legislators. We brainstormed for a strategy for a more effective response. While we all acknowledge the enormity of this problem, there are no easy answers. I do believe that we must make prescription drug monitoring easier for doctors to use so that we can prevent doctor shopping for pain meds. And we must require overdose victims to receive medical attention. And we must find a way for the doctors, police, and courts to work together to compel overdose victims into treatment, including Section 35 reform. But there is some hope on the horizon, finally, with the arrival of a long overdue drug court in the Brockton District Court. I've advocated for a drug court for years because we need to get nonviolent offenders who are committing crime to support a drug habit out of the criminal justice system and into treatment. And we need a lot more treatment facilities and beds to handle the number of people who need help. In Brockton this year, we also saw an inexplicable number of pedestrians struck and killed by motor vehicles. Nearly 100 pedestrians hit by vehicles with 9 fatalities, everyone heartbreaking. Visiting the families who have just tragically lost a loved one has been one of the most difficult parts of my job as mayor, particularly when a child is involved. But as a city and as a community, we have tried to support the families in every way that we can. In speaking for both the Brockton Police and state police investigators who are still working on the Carl Yancey case, we will not rest until we locate the driver who drove away and left that young man on the side of Belmont Street to die. We are aggressively pursuing every option to improve the safety on our streets for bicyclists and pedestrians, working closely with strategic partners, including the Mass Department of Transportation, the State Police, the Brockton Area Transit, and the Old Colony Planning Council. We are implementing a comprehensive response focused in the areas of engineering, education, and enforcement. The Safe Routes to School educational program has already been introduced in 10 out of our 11 elementary schools, while recently 300 teenage drivers attended a distracted driving presentation at Brockton High School. Additional state police traffic patrols, specifically targeting distracted drivers, are in the city several days per week to support our own Brockton police patrols. And we are currently working with state engineers and the Old Colony Planning Council to secure a $500,000 grant for pedestrian safety improvements in the city this year. And we must educate distracted pedestrians to observe basic safety rules for their own protection. We've begun to build a new Brockton. My vision of the new Brockton is that of a 21st century livable city with thriving business districts, entertainment and dining options, diverse cultures, and an emerging arts community. A city that is a hub of education, healthcare, and commerce for the entire Metro South region. But to truly emerge as a livable city, we must be a city of safe neighborhoods. To reclaim our neighborhoods, we must reclaim ownership of our parks, playgrounds, and open spaces. We must eradicate the blight of vacant, abandoned properties, and we must restore safe streets where parents can let their children play without fear of violence and drugs. Today, we're investing in our parks and playgrounds so that they can be used by the families and children that they were built for. We've reopened the newly renovated James Edgar Playground. We've begun the rebuilding of a long-abandoned neighborhood playground on Mulberry Street, and in the spring, we will break ground on Ralsco Park, creating neighborhood green space on the site of a former brownfield. We're replacing the old City Hall Plaza with an inner-city park that is scheduled to be completed on June 30th. a $4.4 million project that we've been able to fund entirely with state and federal funds. This park will connect 4 municipal buildings, creating a walkable downtown government center. For the first time in years, we reestablished a free summer parks program for children ages 8 to 12. At 5 different city playgrounds, kids enjoyed sports, activities, mentoring, a healthy free lunch, bus trips to the Manning swimming pool, and even a rocks game. At the beginning of the summer, we had about 60 kids per day. By the end of the summer, we were averaging 300 children per day in our 5 playgrounds, all free of charge, while also providing 20 Brockton high school and college students with summer jobs. We even brought music back into the parks with summer lunchtime concerts at Finnegan Park downtown and summer Sunday concerts at the Keith Park, the Hancock Park, and the James Edgar Playground. While walking the streets of our city during the 2013 campaign, I witnessed firsthand the blight on our neighborhoods created by vacant and abandoned properties. In order to address these properties, I've assembled the Mayor's Task Force on Housing and Neighborhood Stabilization, partnering city agencies with the Brockton Redevelopment Authority, the Plymouth County Registry of Deeds, the Attorney General's Office, and NeighborWorks. We are actively identifying vacant problem properties and using city codes and ordinances to get these properties secured and cleaned up, while using the threat of receivership to push lenders to accept responsibility for long-time abandoned properties so that they can be auctioned or sold. We will stabilize our neighborhoods by reoccupying vacant homes with owner occupants, not tenants, owner occupants. Tonight, I'm pleased to announce the release of the City of Brockton's first-time homebuyer program, administered by the Brockton Redevelopment Authority. This program will offer up to $10,000 of down payment and closing cost assistance to first-time homebuyers to own and occupy their own home here in Brockton, and we will be able to assist up to 40 families during the first year of the program. Safe and clean neighborhoods begin with safe. Our business districts and our neighborhoods must be clean, safe, and well-lit. Coming into office a year ago, I made the commitment to develop the strategies and resources to reduce crime in the city. I needed a leader, so I asked Bob Hayden to serve as Chief of Police. Now, I may mention his name a couple times. We don't have to clap every single time. Chief Hayden brought a unique combination of leadership, toughness, and compassion, along with over 40 years' experience to lead Brockton's fight to reduce crime. Under Chief Hayden, the Brockton Police Department has conducted an aggressive, relentless pursuit of criminals. Over the past year, we've expanded interagency cooperation and sharing of intelligence with federal, state, county, and local law enforcement agencies. We've established proactive police patrols targeting street-level quality-of-life crimes like drug dealing and prostitution that do not belong in our neighborhoods. We've reinforced both the narcotics and gang units with additional detectives. And my personal favorite, the Mobile Operations Unit, better known as the Motorcycle Unit. And they're here tonight. We're our motorcycle officers. In the spring, you'll even see expanded walking beats both in business districts and high-traffic areas. We're investing in technology to make our officers more effective. This year, you will see us introduce the GIS mapping of crime data to predict where crimes are more likely to occur so that we can direct our resources accordingly. We will also introduce Nextdoor, an online tool to develop virtual neighborhood watch and facilitate neighbor-to-neighbor communications, including two-way communication with the police department. And we are following through on our promise to increase the number of police officers with a class of 9 recruits recently selected to enter the police academy in March. And for the first time, that class of new officers will reflect the diversity of our city. We have targeted the city's most hardcore criminals. We believe that if you identify and remove the most frequent repeat offenders, crime will go down. The detective unit compiled a list of the city's top 40 repeat offenders, or as I like to refer to it as Hayden's top 40. Since compiling that list last February, 31 of the top 40 have been arrested for a total of 38 arrests. Some arrested more than once, a few so recently on the street, they were wearing GPS monitoring bracelets. I will tell you that we are arresting the most dangerous criminals. Now we need the judges to stop putting them back out on the street. One of our most important initiatives has been our citywide campaign to install outside video surveillance cameras pointed at public areas. Not only have we required bars and late-night stores to install cameras, but we are working with all property owners to help us build a citywide network of cameras, because we know that video cameras, combined with proper lighting, make the city safer. We can see the impact of these initiatives already in just 1 year. Here are the numbers. Homicides are up. Crime is down. Aggravated assaults, down 11%. Forcible rapes, down 23%. Robberies, down 15%. Breaking and entering, down 25%. And here is the most telling statistic. Narcotics search warrants served. In other words, drug raids. In 2013, 38. In 2014, 71, almost double. That is aggressive, relentless pursuit of drug dealers by hard-working detectives. The mission is clear. This is our city, and we will continue to fight for it. Before the end of the month, Chief Hayden will be stepping down and completing his year of service to the city of Brockton. When we said 1 year, we meant 1 year. And it's funny, working with Chief Hayden for the past year, I've never really been exactly sure who was working for who. But the first year of my career as mayor is the last year of the chief's career as a law enforcement officer, and I'll never forget it. Chief, I love you, and thank you for everything that you have done for the people of Brockton. Tonight, on the actual anniversary of the birth of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., I'll share a few of his words. If you can't fly, then run. If you can't run, then walk. If you can't walk, then crawl. But whatever you do, you have to keep moving forward. Brockton is on the move. I can feel it. You can feel it. And more importantly, the people outside of Brockton can feel it. We've turned this city in the right direction. And now, together, we must continue to keep moving forward. Brockton is under construction, and we are building a city. Good night, and thank you.
Reverend, I'm going to call you right up. Good job. I'm proud of you. Good job. Great job.
Gracious God, our Father, we thank you for this time tonight. We thank you for this advocate mayor. We thank you for the compassion he's already displayed in this city, his inclusivity, Lord, his sensitivity to everyone's need under the sound of my voice. We thank you for the chief who is Hayden, who's retiring. We ask a blessing upon his future endeavors. We thank you for those who surround this mayor. Give them and energize their will, Lord, to hold up a high moral integrity and, Lord, to seek out solutions that seem impossible. Energize their wills, Lord, to work with everyone under the sound of my voice, all those of every ethnicity, every nationality, every race, that we all might be one and truly a city of champions. We give you all the glory and the praise in Jesus Christ, the risen Lord's name I pray. Amen.